This is verse 29 of the 6th chapter, the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus giving instruction to his followers concerning the tendency that people have to worry about things, to become anxious about them. And of course, Jesus is covering a variety of topics in that connection at the moment. The question of what we wear. He points out the lilies of the field and their beauty, and compares them to the glory of Solomon here in verse 29. So we have lego, first person singular, present active indicative of lego, I say, but, postpositive, humen, the second person dative plural pronoun, but I say to you, hoti, the conjunction, that can mean either that or because. Here its context determines that it means that, so I say to you that. Uda, and not, nor, not even, those are the standard meanings. In this case, I think the latter of those, not even, is preferable, so I say to you that not even Solomon, of course the proper name Solomon, the Old Testament king, en, preposition, takes the dative here, in passe, the dative, all, pas, pasa, pan is the adjective, so in, singular, feminine, in all, te doxa, of course the adjective uses the definite article here, so in all the glory autou of him, genitive singular masculine. So I say to you that not even Solomon in all his glory. Then peribalato, from peribalo, literally means to cast around. It's not the normal word for clothing oneself. It's a different word we've seen earlier. But this is a word that speaks a little bit more of intentionality. To cover something would be the idea, to cast around. And it gives rise to the notion that Solomon labored rather aggressively to cast around himself a certain image, a certain view. It's commonly translated arrayed. It's a little too strong, and it really kind of misses the point here. You'll notice that the middle voice probably is calling attention back to Solomon's own behavior. This is the third person singular, aorist, middle indicative. So all of his more or less efforts focused on himself to create a certain image of glory, nevertheless was not as hos in, or hin rather, a rough breather for one, two-tone, one of these, namely the lilies that are found in the previous verse. So even Solomon in all his glory was not cast around, was not arrayed, is one way of putting it, was not clothed, was not covered, as one of these, that these lilies, that though they don't labor and toil and do all of the things that are commonly associated with attempts to get oneself looking as good as possible, nevertheless Solomon couldn't even reach their glory with all of his efforts for doing so.